insider, Mike Coppinger. Mike, after it was looking like we had a good shot at seeing Terence Crawford and Errol Spence finally get it on for all the marbles at welterweight, not to mention for pound supremacy in the biggest fight in boxing, it seems to me that Al Haymon, Spence's advisor, has successfully ducked Crawford for now. Al, as always, you have an open invitation to tell your side of the story on this show. Mike, what's the latest as you understand it? In the biggest fight in boxing, it seems to me that Al Haymon, Spence's advisor, has successfully ducked Crawford for now. Al, as always, you have an open invitation to tell your side of the story on this show. Mike, what's the latest as you understand it?
Yeah, Max, really disappointing. Now we're not going to get Spence Crawford at least next. I spoke to Terence Crawford last night. He told me he has signed a contract to fight David Avanesian, who is our number 10 welterweight. It's going to be on December 10th in Crawford's native Omaha, Nebraska, on pay-per-view. And it's a good fight, but it's, of course, a big disappointment when we were expecting Crawford-Spence. Crawford told me simply that he wasn't willing to go an entire year without fighting. He hasn't fought since Sean Porter in November of last year. And as talks with Errol Spence continue to drag on, November 19th was the target date. Then it got pushed to first quarter of 2023, and Crawford said, I need to fight. And then after that, I can revisit the Spence fight.
You know, Mayweather and Pacquiao set a...
What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Now, before I address the clown, Max Kellerman, yeah? Goofy sounding ass. Let me talk about this Donny here, Mike Coppinger, yeah? Now, Kellerman, a.k.a. Kappelman, Max Kappelman, said that, Al Haymon, and you man know me, I'm the first one to drag Al Haymon. I'm the first one to drag any goofy behaviour. I'm the first one to drag PBC. But I go on a case-by-case basis. I ain't going to suck no one off for the sake of sucking people off. Your man Max Kuckelman, it becomes apparent, who by the way is working with ESPN, who's top ranked. This for me seems purely political. There's no other way. Yeah? ESPN versus PBC. Because your own man's Coppinger on the show said, Terence Crawford said he couldn't wait more than a year to fight. He needs to fight. Wait a minute. Max Kappelman just said that it's Al Haymon and Errol Spence, but then Coppinger saying it was Terence Crawford who didn't want to wait more than a year. Which is it then? Mark Coppinger. Coppinger didn't say, Terence Crawford told us Errol Spence was whatever. No, he didn't say that. He said Terence Crawford cancelled negotiations because he wanted to fight and didn't want to wait more than a year. Oops. That sounds like what Crawford had chose to do. Wait a minute. Max Kappelman blaming Errol Spence and Al Haymon for Terence Crawford deciding he'd had enough of negotiations. Now, that statement in itself sounds booky. Well, YB, you've just said Terence Crawford had enough of negotiations, which implies that Errol Spence and Al Haymon was taking long. Listen, at this point in time, I'd be lying if I told you we know for sure what's gone on behind closed doors. But what we do know is Terence Crawford has had months to declare stuff's going wrong behind closed doors. And in fact, to the contrary, there's several interviews where Terence Crawford has said, oh man, I'm from Omaha and everything great and it's all gravy and, it's going well and the fight gonna happen. He never once said, listen, Terence Crawford could have come out and said, listen, negotiations are taking a long time. These guys are bugging. Errol Spence is a drunk tweaker. And if it's not done by October 20th, I'm going to be fighting Avanesian. I'm going to be fighting a bum instead. He could have said that. He never said that. He said the fight was coming. He never exposed Errol Spence. He never told us he wanted another fight booked. And he had plenty of opportunities to do so. That's the issue here. Now, you could say, well, YB, Errol Spence also had multiple interviews, which he did. And Errol Spence also said nothing was wrong, which is also true. The difference is, people, Errol Spence isn't the one who has officially cancelled negotiations and put on a new fight. That's the problem here. The problem isn't the fact negotiations broke down as such. The problem is, how can you be seriously negotiating with someone if you've got another fight booked? That don't make sense. So for all that information I've just told you, where this goofy ass Max Kellerman coming from? Oh, I'm sorry, this situation shows me Al Haymon and Errol Spence ducking. And what gets me the most is, fair enough, yeah. Now I've watched this whole interview. For copyright reasons, I can't sit here for 20 minutes and play the whole interview. What I can say is, number one, obviously, watch it for your own eyes, watch it for yourselves, but take my word for it. I've watched the whole interview, yeah. And guess what? Max Kellerman doesn't go deeper on the allegations he made. There's no segment in this video where he says, where he backs up his claims. Because you'd think, for someone like Max Kellerman saying, it's clear to me Errol Spence and Al Haymon ducking, you'd think, oh well, surely there's going to be a 5-minute segment where Max Kellerman gives us the deep secret leaks that led him to that conclusion. Guess what? There's no leaks, there's nothing, it's pure political speculation. Honestly, I kid you not. And I actually rated Max Kellerman more than this, to be honest with you. I thought he was down the line, but it's apparent it's an ESPN versus PBC war. And that for me is corny. Super duper corny as well. To blame Al Haymon and Errol Spence, but then provide no evidence for that. Who does that? Weird ass dude, just sucking Terence Crawford off for no apparent reason. Apart from, I guess, the ESPN, or apart from really to hate on Al Haymon PBC. Because where's the evidence? Well, not even evidence. Where's the anecdotes? Where's the, I heard this? I'm not even asking for pure proof. I'm asking for you to explain to us, Max Kellerman, where your really stern conclusion of disproving Al Haymon and Errol Spence have ducked, where you get that from? Because to make that kind of statement and then not to follow through is whack. And in my opinion, it shows how thirsty dude is for an Al Haymon exclusive. It's almost like he's poked the bear, he's trying to taunt the bear. Oh, Al. Oh, Al. Oh, Al, you've ducked this fight, and if you want to come on my show and explain yourself, knowing Al don't do no media. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like Max Kellerman was begging for some ratings boosts. Ooh, I'll throw a cheap shot at Errol Spence and Al Haymon with no evidence behind it. And then hopefully he come on my show. Shameless plug. What a weirdo. Oh, Al, you've ducked the fight. It's clear to me Al Haymon's ducked the fight. Oh, and if you want to come on my show and boost my ratings up, then you're welcome to do so. What? This guy corny. Yeah? He a whole cornball looking ass as well. Look at the guy. I'm sorry. What gets me the most, I feel betrayed because up until today, I've considered Max Kellerman to be pretty solid. Yeah? Several times in the past, he's aired out Stephen A. hairline. And Stephen A. hairline is a whole goober coon. 100%. A true goober coon. Yeah? I've always ridden with Max. But then this comes along. Just hating. Just lying for the sake of lying. And this video itself, many people, there's a man called Bruce Vane on YouTube. He used this video for Max Kellerman as evidence. Oh yeah, Terence Crawford's, look, Errol Spence and Al Haymon are ducking because Max Kellerman said so. Even though Max Kellerman provided no argument to support that case. So YouTubers are using this. Oh look, ESPN's official statement. Yeah, it's Errol Spencer's ducked. Even though they haven't got no meat on the bones. That statement made by Max has no meat on the bones. It's shocking how poor that is. To be honest, it's almost defamatory. It's almost libelous, truth be known. To make that kind of statement and have no supporting evidence. Shocking. Very poor. And it frustrates me even more because from what I've seen and heard. Now listen, if there's some evidence that comes out that shows Errol Spence was the one who caused the problem, you know me. I'll put my hands in the air and whatever, but At this point in time, it's clear to me, Terence Crawford pooed his pants again. Don't forget, people, Errol Spence is the guy who fights top fighters. At the time, Kell Brook, he was the bad man of 147. And Errol Spence not only fought Kell Brook, he came to the UK to do so. So I struggle to believe that Errol Spence is scary of Terence Crawford, a guy who's a small pint. Yeah, a 135er. I don't believe that. Errol Spence's whole career has fought top dudes. The same can't be said for Terence Bum Crawford. Terence Bum Crawford has been fighting washed up bums for years. The only one half decent athlete he fought was Indongo. And guess what? It turned out Indongo was no good. Indongo had no heart. Indongo jumped on the floor. Yeah? Indongo choked. Indongo did not come to win. Indongo jumped on the floor, and then was kissing and hugging on Terence Crawford after the fight. Any man who loses a fight, and then is kissing and hugging on the dude who just knocked him out, wasn't coming to win. I've been in sport to a much lower level than world championship boxing, and I can tell you, anytime I lost, I ain't trying to hug on the dude who beat me. Can't stand the dude. That's normal human reaction. The only time I've seen someone hugging on next dude is when they're happy to lose, and when they had no intention of winning. Trust me, when you've been in that, anyone who's done sport to any decent level will know that when you've been mentally preparing yourself to win an outcome, to win a sporting event, and you come up short, there's nothing more devastating in that sense. When you've spent months training for something and you've been so determined to win and you've left it all out there, the last thing on your mind is trying to suck off and hug and smile with next dude. That just don't cut it. The only time that's possible is if you never had no intention of winning and you was turning up for a paycheck, as Indongo did. Terence Crawford don't have no killers on his resume. He has goofies like Indongo on there. So the common denominator here is Terence Crawford doing what he always does, fights bums. Errol Spence is trying to fight another top champion. Crawford pooed his pants. Yeah? Crawford's now begging Bob Arum to go fight some more bums for loads of money. Crawford's now begging Bob Arum to lose some more money fighting bums. The guy's a clown. Get this guy out of here. And I'm sorry, but the fact that Crawford was linked with ESPN for so many years, I believe Max Kappelman obviously has a relationship with Crawford. In fact, I know it for a fact. How do we know this? Kappelman has a podcast with Terence Crawford on it. Guess what? He doesn't have a podcast with Errol Spence on. So it's obvious. Oh, I know Terence. I don't know Spence. This is easy. Yeah, let me drag Spence and Haymon. Difference is, you're supposed to be a journalist. You're not supposed to be a whole cornball. Yeah? You corny. Get this corny guy out of here. I ain't trying to hear no more from Max Kappelman. Yeah? He a big yellow looking ass cornball, 100%. Get this guy out of here. Smash the like button, subscribe, and your boy will be back.